Ever wonder how massive apps like Netflix or Google can handle millions of people all at once and just not crash? Well, a big part of the answer is a really powerful tool called Kubernetes. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on this thing and show you exactly why people call it the Autopilot for modern software.
Okay, so let's start with something we can all agree on. Containers are awesome. They've totally changed how we build software, right? They let developers bundle up an entire application with all its code, libraries, everything it needs into one neat little package. It's just clean, it's efficient, and it works the same everywhere.
But here's the thing. What happens when your app is a hit? I mean, a huge success. Suddenly, you're not dealing with just a few containers. You've got hundreds, maybe thousands, spread out over who knows how many machines. How in the world do you keep track of all that?
And that, my friends, is where the chaos begins. All of a sudden, you have these massive headaches. What do you do when traffic suddenly spikes? If a container dies at 3 a.m., does someone have to get paged, wake up, and go fix it? And how do all these little containers even find and talk to each other? Honestly, it becomes a logistical nightmare, fast.
And that right there, that chaos, is the exact problem Kubernetes was born to solve. It was literally designed to be the eye of the storm, to bring order and sanity to the madness of running applications at a massive scale.
So, what is it, really? Well, Kubernetes, which people often shorten to K8S, that's K, then 8 letters, then an S, is an open-source system that automates all the hard parts of running containers. The best way to think about it is as a container orchestrator. It's like the master conductor for a huge, complex orchestra of containers.
And get this isn't some new experimental toy. Kubernetes came straight out of Google, built on 15 years of their own experience running billions, yes, billions of containers a week. So this technology was battle-tested in pretty much the most demanding place on Earth before it was ever released to the public.
Okay, so how does it actually pull off this magic trick? Well, it all comes down to a few core building blocks. Let's get into the Kubernetes toolkit. We're talking about pods, deployments, and services.
First up, the pod. This is the absolute smallest, most basic thing you work with in Kubernetes. And the key thing to know is that a pod is what holds your container, or sometimes a few tightly coupled containers. In our autopilot analogy, you can think of the pod as the passenger or the cargo on the plane. It's the thing that actually gets put on the schedule and sent on its way.
Next up, we have deployments. So if the pod is the cargo, the deployment is the flight plan. You just tell the deployment, hey, I need 3 identical copies of this pod running at all times. And it's the deployment's job to make sure that happens. It also handles all your updates, so you can roll out a new version of your app without taking everything down. It's pretty smart. And finally, we have services. Now, because pods can come and go, they get created, they crash, they get replaced, their internal network addresses are always changing. A service solves that problem. It's like the air traffic control tower. It gives you one single stable address to talk to, and then it automatically routes all the incoming traffic to a healthy pod that's ready to handle it. It even balances the load between them.
All right, so we have our building blocks. We've got pods, deployments, and services. Let's put it all together now and see how this autopilot actually works in the real world. You know, taking you from code on a laptop to a running application in the cloud. So picture a totally automated flow. A developer writes some code and pushes it up. That push automatically triggers a build process that creates a new container. Then that new container gets deployed to the Kubernetes cluster. And from that point on, Kubernetes just takes over. It's now in charge of managing, scaling, and healing that application, all by itself.
And the reason it can handle all of that so smoothly is because Kubernetes has a few key features that are so powerful. You really can think of them as its superpowers.
And here they are. Remember that chaos we talked about at the beginning? Well, this is how Kubernetes beats it. Self-healing means if a container crashes, K8s just restarts it. No 3 a.m. wake-up calls. Auto-scaling means it can handle a sudden flood of users without anyone lifting a finger. Automated rollouts mean you can deploy updates safely. But maybe the most powerful idea here is that it's declarative. This is huge. You don't write scripts telling it how to do things. You just write a file that declares the state you want, like, I want 3 copies of my app. And Kubernetes does whatever it takes to make that happen and keep it that way.
And look, this isn't just theory. It has a massive impact in the real world. As one company put it, Kubernetes lets them rapidly iterate on their clients' demands. And really, that's the whole point, right? It's about being able to build and ship things for your customers faster and more reliably than ever before.
So, let's just zoom out for a second. We've seen all the pieces. Let's talk about the big picture. Why does all of this really matter? It really boils down to this. It is your container Autopilot. It takes all that complex, repetitive, and absolutely critical work of keeping your apps running and just handles it. And that frees up your engineers to focus on what humans are actually good at, being creative, solving new problems, and building amazing new features.
So in the end, Kubernetes is about transforming that chaos of managing modern software into calm, automated order. It turns those stressful late-night manual fixes into reliable, self-healing systems. It basically replaces anxiety with confidence. And that really just leaves one question. Are you ready to put your applications on autopilot?